Is the quarantine life getting you down? Come on in here. Come in here. It's time for some lunch therapy. All right. It's lunch therapy. Today we've got a special show. It's episode 56. And as always, we're going to take in 3 deep breaths. If you feel your feet on the floor, get present, take in a deep breath, hold it, let it out, take in another deep breath, hold it, let it out. And one more deep breath. Feel it in the back of your lungs. And let it out. Okay, I'm feeling better now. I hope all of you are too. Today is a special day because we're in Better Off Dead week, and we had a lot of questions yesterday about the movie, about the face dancing, about the influence of Fast Times at Ridgemont High on the thing, and all this other stuff. And we've got somebody here today to answer some of our questions. Somebody who is right there in the whole making of this thing, of course, and is a part of it. So, without further ado, here's a little clip from the movie.
If he asks me out, of course I'm going to go out with him. I mean, he's a K-12. Yeah, he's so boss. Lane? I don't know. I'll tell him after tryouts, because you know how he gets when he gets upset. Yeah. From the chairlift. He had to buy the guy a new hat last time. Oh, look, Lane's here. I gotta go, okay? I'll call you later. Bye.
Hey, everybody. It's Better Off Dead week, and today we are lucky enough to be sitting here with Beth from Better Off Dead, Amanda Wyss. She is here. She has been gracious enough to join us and talk about Better Off Dead, which is obviously one of my favorite movies, and I know one of yours. Amanda, thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. This is just so fun to connect with you.
Oh yeah, it's so great. And it's so, I am so dumb. I didn't even realize that was you in the movie. I've always had this movie in my head because when we were younger, we used to watch it over and over and over and over again. We called it Better Off Stoned. And,
you probably you and a lot of people.
Yeah. And so we would actually watch it multiple times, and that, so many sayings are in our vernacular, just our normal day-to-day, lines from Better Off Dead are just in our normal vernacular. And a lot of people I know from my generation, our generation, say phrases from Better Off Dead, and some people don't even realize what it's from,
It's true.
So, and we have a lot of questions about it. One of the questions that I have is, this to us is like, you were also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, is that right?
Right.
So Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Better Off Dead are like so much of our generation, and we identify so much with that.
Yeah.
That kind of movie. And I just wonder, why is Better Off Dead, like, you can watch it on YouTube, a really blurry version of it right now. I don't know what it's doing there, but it doesn't seem to be available on the streaming networks or Netflix or anything.
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
I don't know exactly why, but I think there was a shakeup at the studio after that movie came out, and either the library was sold to somebody and they didn't see the value in Better Off Dead, or
I think maybe that they don't know what they have.
Yeah, and it could be that somebody somebody didn't relinquish the rights to have it put out or something. So that's a good question for Savage Steve Holland.
I want to get a hold of Savage Steve. Savage Steve, I went to Cal Arts, and I found out that he went to Cal Arts as well.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get a hold of him. I don't know how. I don't even know. Is that his real name? Savage Steve Holland?
Savage Steve Holland.
His name, he was born with the name Savage, or is he?
I'm not 100% sure he was born with that name, but it is 100% the name that he's always gone by.
And everybody calls him Savage or Savage Steve?
Savage. It's just Savage.
Just Savage. Hey, Savage.
Yeah.
That's
Savage.
great.
And it's delightfully hilarious because he is the least savage person on the planet. He's just this tall, goofy, kind, preppy skier from back east, and
clearly a skier. I'm also a skier. We grew up skiing like that, so it's that's another thing that I identify with this movie.
Yeah.
Were you a skier when you got this role? Because you're out there on the slopes in this thing?
Yeah. Yes, I grew up skiing. I don't ski anymore, but I grew up skiing. I have a bum knee now. I can't ski.
You do? Oh,
yes,
terrible.
my left knee will have none of it. That and riding horses. It's just.
Oh no. Two of the great things in life.
I know. So I probably should have it operated on. But I'm not.
When you were in the movie, did you do your own skiing, or did they have like a stunt skier?
They had a stunt skier. We did ski a little bit, but we weren't supposed to. In fact, they came back from the studio that we weren't insured to ski because we were having so much fun just skiing. Because the actors on that movie, we love each other and we had the best time. Literally all we did was laugh the entire time, and we hung out.
Such a funny movie, and I think that comes through.
Yeah,
because people really just act goofy in that thing.
Yeah, and we hung out, after all day on the set, all night after we wrapped, and then it was just repeat next day. We just like laughing our asses off, and then we dance all night in the tram bar and at the ski resort we were staying at. And we were kind of the only people there, and I don't know, there was a jukebox, and we would just dance all night.
Super fun. How was it to be sort of the villain of the story? Do you like playing villains?
I think so. Yeah. You know what I like? I never really played the mean girl before. Yeah. And at that point, I mean, now I've sort of made a career out of it, but it was fun because she's on one hand the object of desire for everyone, and yet it's just so her goal in life is to go get higher, move forward, climb, be better, be best. Yeah. And I just thought that was fun to put that story into a teenager, of just like that. You just picture that Beth, I'm sure, married, the most upwardly mobile person.
And then he became like a alcoholic loser and left her for a younger woman or something. I don't know what happened to her. I guess Steve Holland wrote this story based on his own life.
Yes.
And I think the original script was not even necessarily a comedy. That a lot of these, because the guy, the lead character Lane goes and like tries to kill himself many times.
The entire time.
Better Off Dead, thus the name.
I do have to tell you, I don't know about it not having been a comedy, but the script I got is to this day still the funniest script I've ever read in my entire life. In fact, don't tell Savage. I think it's even funnier than the movie. Yeah.
And he wrote the script as well.
He did. He's
from his life.
So talented. Yeah. And I mean, it's a fictionalized version of his life.
But even the I want my $2 guy is apparently like a memory of his.
Yeah.
I remember being a paper boy at that time, and like in the 70s, and trying to collect was impossible. I would go to people's houses, and they would turn off the lights like they weren't there, and then I'd knock on the door, and I knew they were there, and I took a loss every month. I was actually paying to be a paper boy because I just could not get money. So I totally identified with that. And apparently
I think my parents used to do that. Isn't that terrible?
It's terrible.
A shameful memory for me that I think that they would just be like, quiet, it's the paper boy.
It's the paper boy.
I know, and it's like,
nobody wanted to pay him. I don't know why.
Give me money.
I don't know why. And that was the thing, is it's like your first opportunity at being an entrepreneur. So you actually have to buy the papers from the paper company. They deliver them, and then you deliver them to all the houses, and you have to collect and pay them back for the papers. And then you take the profit. I never made a profit. But yeah, so did you, when you were in high school, were you a mean girl?
No, I don't think so. Although my little sister might say I was mean.
Yeah.
And she's my best friend, but I was mean to her when we were in high school, which I regret.
Was
terribly.
she your age, or was she older,
She's
younger?
a year younger.
Younger, a year younger.
We're Irish twins, yeah.
Oh, I see.
She's I don't know. You know what? I don't know that, you know what? I think I wasn't the most self-possessed teenager. I think I was like more, you know, I look back and, you know, like you see kids now and they're so self-possessed and assured of who they are, where they fit in the world. Like I had no idea. I don't think I got close to that realization until my mid-30s. I think.
How did you even come to acting?
My older sister was doing a play in Los Angeles called, it's a famous play, something in the Nun, and I can't think of it. And I was like, oh, I like that. And so they were doing The Innocents, which is a William Inge play, kind of scary, creepy play. And so I asked if I could audition for it. I was like 11. Wow. And I got it. So I did that play. And then the following year at the same theater in LA, I did The Bad Seed. I played Rhoda in The Bad Seed.
Really?
And so that
was successful.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing that launched you, isn't it?
Yeah. So because I got an agent from that, and then I started doing commercials. And then when I graduated from high school, I did my first like episodic. I did Buck Rogers in the 20th century.
Really?
Yeah. And then
beady. I remember there was like a little robot guy or something that would make that weird
noise. And I'm
noise.
still friends with Erin Gray from that.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
she was great.
Yeah, so she's cool. So I was.
Or he's cool. Erin Gray. Wait, Erin Gray.
Erin, she's the pretty brunette.
She's the woman. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she still looks the same in sports.
Really?
But anyway, so that's how it happened. And then I went to Lee Strasberg Theater Institute as a teenager and studied with Sally Kirkland.
Really? Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah.
Did you was Better Off Dead your first movie, or was it?
No, my first movie. I was a teenager, and it was called Force 5, and it was directed by the guy who directed Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee movie. And so I was super excited because I was really into martial arts. I'd been taking Taekwondo for a couple of years. Anyway, it was not very good. It's a terrible movie. Really? Like I literally play a senator's daughter who's been kidnapped, and I'm kind of in like a sheet with like somebody did like a cheap like a print, like a stamp of like a bull's head. Oh, like that was like the cult logo. I mean, it looks like if like it looks like it was made in quarantine. Like you could only use what you could find in your house.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I did a bunch of television, actually, some pilots and episodics, and then I did Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
And then I did Nightmare on Elm Street, and then I did Better Off Dead.
You know, Fast Times was such a seminal moment in filmmaking history as far as the amount of actors that came out of that movie that went on to become household names is unbelievable. Yeah, it's like,
you want to know what's
crazy.
Interesting about that movie is that every single person either became, like you said, a huge movie star, or they're like me, they're like a journeyman character actor that works, or they left the business and are hugely successful.
Really?
Literally every single person. There's not a dud in the entire bunch. It's like, even
Nicolas Cage is in that movie, isn't he?
Yes, he was like he was still Nicolas Coppola back then.
Yeah, it is crazy. I remember you're in the scene where Spicoli orders a pizza and you're sitting behind him. That's a famous scene. Mr. Hand and all that. Oh my God, it's such a great movie.
Like David Price is in the movie, who went on to be a director, a successful. He's in that scene too. Jennifer Jason Leigh is there, obviously. You know, Phoebe Cates, and then you have Kelly Maroney,
Judge Reinhold.
It's
crazy.
Oh my gosh, it just goes. Pamela Springsteen, who's like an incredibly accomplished photographer now, and
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, it's just literally the list goes on and on and on.
Jeez.
Amy Heckerling, man, she knows. I love her. She's amazing. She's
Yeah,
an
she
amazing
is
director.
great.
Had a keen eye for.
I think didn't Linkletter write that too? Yeah, yeah.
No,
No, somebody famous wrote the movie too. I don't know.
yeah,
Who that is. I need probably
Cameron
my
Crowe.
IMDb.
It
Oh,
was
Cameron
Cameron
Crowe. That was it. Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
wrote-
Sorry, my
Okay.
mind for a minute. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's hard. It's hard.
I know.
Well, that's the thing about Better Off Dead too, is there are people in that movie that are really interesting. Like, what is his name? Dan Schneider, who played
Yes.
Ricky.
Yeah, he went on to be the.
He's like a producer at Nickelodeon or something,
yeah,
right?
like he's like the head of it, all of children's programs. Yeah, like he's.
I
like
want to try and talk to him too, because very interesting characterization. I mean, he just goes all out in that movie. And it's not. He's one of those actors in that movie that does. There's a certain amount. In acting, sometimes you have to kind of let your vanity go.
Yeah.
Just kind of let it go, and he just commits to that character, and he plays it really straight, even though it's goofy, ridiculously goofy. There's a part in the dance sequence where they play music and he lays down on the floor, face down.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and in our high school, we had been doing that, something we called face dancing, where we'd lay face down at a dance. We'd all lay face down. It was like a thing. And it actually evolved eventually it became this thing called planking. It's sort of my legacy because I'm the originator of this thing called planking. And I was on like To Tell the Truth and just all this stuff because of this, because we used to do that in high school.
Idea.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. But somebody then noticed that, wait a minute, Ricky does that in Better Off Dead. It was in, it was like maybe a couple years after we started doing it, but there he was doing it. And we were like so confused, like, wow, like, is this something that was in the zeitgeist? Why? Do you happen to know why he did that in the movie? Was it in the script?
You know what? I don't remember. You know what? When you talk with Diane remembers everything, and she's amazing. I remember it happening, but I don't remember if it's something that Savage came up with or if Ricky did. I mean,
was there improvisation in this movie at all, or is it pretty much as the script goes?
It was. I would say 99% of it is on the page.
Yeah.
But John and Curtis Armstrong, who I love with all my heart, and his wife. Yeah, and his wife.
They got him from Risky Business, I guess. I think Steve Savage saw him in that and was like, I want you in this movie. And he didn't know whether he'd get him, and he got him. Yeah. Did they get you from Fast Times? Did they say, we want her from Fast Times? How do you think they came across you? Did you just audition? I auditioned, but Savage had seen something I'd done, and I don't remember. I think it was a TV movie I'd done. So I was the person, like I was in his mind for the part, and I really wanted it. And when I went in to read for him, he was just so nice. And because I was like, a guy named Savage, like, what's that going to be like? I expected somebody in like leathers, and I don't even know. And somebody named Savage. I'd wonder that too.
In like Bermuda shorts and a button down, and he's all like, "Hi."
Really?
Like, wait, what? Yeah. So
I have an alter ego called Joe Fury that I do every once in a while. He has really long hair, and he's sort of a he thinks he's cool. He's on the show. Sometimes he hosts my show or whatever. But it's fun to have that. That's why I wondered if he came up with the name, or if that was something his friends called him. I don't even know. Maybe it's just a name. Maybe it's a name.
I think it's something. You know what? I know the story and I can't remember it, but he's been called that since he was very young.
Did you ever meet the real Beth? The real one?
No.
She's out there somewhere.
She is out there somewhere. Her name's not Beth, but she's out there somewhere. But she was described to me.
Yeah.
So.
Did John Cusack not like the movie? There's some kind of talk about that on the internet, that he, at the screening of the movie, like left. It was like, this is horrible.
But
he denies it. He denies it from what I've heard.
Yes, he does. And I have to say, I did not know anything about this story of him not liking it until I was at a Comic-Con, and people were coming up to, talk and get signatures or whatever. And people started asking me about that, and I was like, what? And so I went and had lunch with Steve, and he's like, don't you remember he wasn't super happy with, and I literally was like just staring at him like I'd never heard this story. So really? I don't know if I've just blocked it out, Or
Was he a big star when the movie was made? I forget. Or did this kind of start to cement his kind of persona? Because certainly a John Cusack character, you know how
yeah,
he has a particular character that
yeah.
he plays.
He
And
was
this is
starting
very
to become
specific.
known. I didn't
Yeah.
say anything. I hadn't say anything
I think
already.
Say Anything was after, but I'm not sure. But I
The
think
Sure
so.
Thing.
The Sure Thing. Sure
Yeah.
Thing was before then.
Yeah, I
With
think it was,
Nicolette, who's also a friend of yours, I think,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how beautiful was she in that movie?
Oh my gosh. I mean, she had to be. The
Oh,
thing was called, you know, I mean, it was like, that's what
she's
it was
really-
about.
she's that beautiful though. That's
yeah.
the thing. Like it's like
She is that.
it's like she and I actually met in acting class. We were in Larry Moss's acting class and we got paired together, and that's how we
Really?
became friends. Yeah. She was
Wow.
on Knots Landing at the time. And yeah, she was just so pretty. Like you would just look at her and sometimes it was just like, God, you're just like, you're weirdly too pretty for the world.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
even think the camera does it justice, which is
No, I mean, she's just a person who lives and breathes that
yeah.
incredible persona and beauty.
She's a
and
super
she's a good
tomboy.
person.
That's
super
the thing that's so
person,
fun.
have
Like she
fun
doesn't wear
around.
makeup. She's like, you know,
Yeah.
has her horse, and she likes to, you know, she's a tomboy. It's just yeah, just you know, okay.
I wanted to ask you too about there's a sequence in the movie Better Off Dead where he works at this pig I don't know, hamburger place or whatever suddenly, and then there's this animated sequence that happens, and it's a great part of the movie, but it seems so weird. Like, how did they even get in the movie? You know, it seems like they'd be like, let's get rid of that because it's not even like, why he's even working at the place. I have no idea. He keeps running into the guy's truck with his car, and then that guy owns the place, but you never see him like say, I got to go to work or something like that. Just suddenly he's there.
It's just there, yeah.
And they play that Van Halen song. Everybody wants some. It's so weird.
It's so weird.
The movie's weird though. The whole movie is weird, but this is the weirdest part of it.
Yeah. When I read the script, I was like, wait, what? It's like a cartoon. And then I was like, did I misread this? Is the whole movie a cartoon? Like I got confused when
Was it in the script? It was in the script.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like a Cal Arts guy. I wonder if he knew a bunch of animators and was like, hey, this is going to be great.
Yeah, I think he is an animator.
He's an animator.
Yeah. So I think like that was part of his, something that he loves to do, and he wanted to incorporate that into.
Do you think this movie would have gotten made if it wasn't for Fast Times at Ridgemont High just before it? Because it's weird. It's really weird, but it's in that same genre.
Yeah, it's
There's
weird.
stuff in there that is like, people would be like, whoa, I don't know if people can handle this. The mother's making a stew and there's tentacles moving around. The kid is reading How to Pick Up Trashy Women, and then he's got all these trashy women in his room. It's just
making explosives in his room.
Explosives. It's just not
definitely wouldn't get made. I think that you know what? I think because it was during that time, because Fast Times is such adult themes, and that it was like, I mean, even in this day and age, people would be like, wow, that's kind of
racy,
or and it's like deep thoughts and big decisions that
for high school kids, which is what high school kids, I mean, it's even more so today, what high school kids go through, but it's very like real to that.
And then Better Off Dead, because he's trying to kill himself the whole time. It's strange that it got greenlit. It is. I mean, I think that people were more. And
it's comical when he tries to go. There's one part where he tries to like hang himself, and then his mom opens the door, and
she almost kills him.
Yeah, and it's comical.
It's
funny. Like dark stuff.
I think that because there was that proliferation of teen movies and the John Hughes films and even Doc Hollywood to some extent in these movies that they were gearing towards young people, they all really had adult themes. They weren't they kind of were heavy themes in comedy. So for whatever reason, I think that was I don't know who started it. It probably Fast Times, but it became a thing that people wanted to keep making those kinds of movies because I think they see the success of it. But I mean, you don't really see that now to that degree. That kind of those adult.
I don't think you don't see that, especially you don't see it like together with comedy like that in that
No,
way.
not
That
at
sort of
all.
like really broad comedy and then these very dark themes in the same thing.
Yeah. So, and I don't know what about the 80s made that. I mean, I wonder if it's some sort of correlation with the whole vibe of the 80s or something, all those neon colors and the music.
I really want to see a master print of this thing again, like available online so people can, because it's certainly in its, it's definitely an 80s movie. It has that definite 80s feel. But I think people should be able to, see it easily.
I want to find out why it's not on streaming outlets as well. Or it never plays on.
It seems like it would be an easy thing to do. I mean, they just need to remaster it or whatever, make it digital and it's out there on DVD. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray or what.
Somebody must not have sold the rights to do that. I forget how that works. But like I said, another movie of mine, it fell in the same limbo, Powwow Highway, where it's just, you either have to buy it on, I don't even know if it's on a DVD. It might
it might just be 80s, Kamala's movie, Born in East LA too, was hard to find and any kind of streaming kind of thing. So maybe there's a whole market out there for these things, like the resurgence of this stuff. Because I know that there's a lot of 80s people that are nostalgic about the 80s that are like kids.
Well, you know what?
They're not nostalgic. I guess they're just discovering it for the first time.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, like when I go to Comic-Cons, the thing that's always amazing is how, Better Off Dead and Better Off Dead, Fast Times, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. It's that, they're on their third generation of people now. Like I'm the first generation, and then somebody younger saw it, and then they have kids, and they're like, "You have to see these movies." And so, like teenagers will come up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been watching Better Off Dead at Christmas every year with my family since I
really,
yeah, every Halloween we watch Nightmare on Elm Street." And
wow,
so I just think that's like crazy. And these are people watching Better Off Dead when it's impossible to find. And
and I don't think that there's a movie from that time period that people quote as much.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Sorry, your mom blew up, and
and
to drink Peru.
The best 7.5 years of my life.
I want my $2. All that stuff is just part of the vernacular.
I wonder because I know like there's that market in Cannes every year where companies go and sell packages of their films, and they sell them to all the streaming platforms, whether it's HBO to Netflix or whatever.
I think it's time.
And so I wonder why these movies aren't available to be sold in those packages.
It's interesting because some of the movies, and Better Off Dead isn't really like this. Some of them have like things that you just be like, oh man, you have to cut that out of the movie because they're like racist or offensive to this. More enlightened, more woke, I guess, world. But there isn't really anything I can think of in Better Off Dead that is like that.
No.
No. Yeah.
I mean,
I rewatched it. I didn't like go, oh,
cringing.
Like you do when you watch, I don't know, I think 16 Candles or something. There's some of them where they're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is just a really racist stereotype.
Yeah, you get the cringeworthy. I think today is a tough market because of the sensitivity to everything, and people are either more easily triggered, or we're just now aware of people being triggered, which is probably more the case. Yeah. So I think like people have to be more, I don't think people have as much creative freedom. I'm not talking about being racist. That's just bullshit. You shouldn't do that. I'm just talking about like certain creative things.
So like the guy trying to commit suicide throughout the movie.
And it's like, making it funny.
It's a different kind of sensibility, but it's not necessarily, I don't know. I guess it could be triggering to somebody, but
it might be.
But then a lot of things are triggering to people. I mean, to think about, like you watch some show, any show on HBO, there's a million things that, you watch Girls. Lots of people are going to be triggered by stuff in Girls.
I'm kind of the mind to just change the channel.
Yeah, right. There's so much out there.
I know. I'm like,
it's like if this thing you're not cool with, then you watch that.
I don't want to be upset. Like that's how and this is funny because I'm sort of known for Nightmare on Elm Street and one or two other horror films, and I dislike intensely being scared. And I don't like blood and guts. So like making them is fun because it's just a role. It's a character. It's not like you make a movie saying, oh, this is a horror film, so I'm going to do something different. It's just a role you play that you want to dive into and have a good time playing. But I can't watch them. And so people will ask me questions like, what's your favorite horror film? And I want to be like, none. I like For the Love of the Game and Notting Hill. I watch, my go-tos are like Love Actually. Yeah. I
love that movie.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Me too.
My favorites. Some people think it's hokey or something, but I don't know what's wrong with them.
Oh, I love it. And Steven, who is my guy, last year came home before the holidays because he had to leave. He does a lot of theater, and he had to leave to go to New York to do a play over the holiday. And I was working, and I had to stay here. Doesn't matter. Yeah. But anyway, he came home with this package, and he'd found me a bound version of the script of actually, and a copy of it on DVD. He's like, I know these are your favorite, and I thought you could sit there with your script and watch the movie. And I was like,
I think the only people that don't like it are people like screenwriters that go, there's no way that could happen. That's too much of a coincidence. When like the airport thing at the end or whatever, there people like criticize it for weird things that don't matter. It's and also it's just so. It just feels good to watch a movie like that.
It feels good.
Yeah.
And the other movie that makes me feel really good, I know I'm off topic of Better Off Dead, but
okay.
Have you ever seen For the Love of the Game?
No. Is that a really good movie?
You have to watch it.
Okay.
I love it.
That's my assignment.
Okay. It's Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston and other wonderful actors. And it's all about like getting into the zone.
Oh, really?
And then finding yourself and
writing it down,
realizing what love means to you, and
that's nice.
What is success without someone to love, but it's about clearing the mechanism and being in the flow of life. And it's just one of those movies. I've seen it like 1,000 times.
Okay,
and Steve bought me a copy of that too. It's not his favorite movie, but he likes a little more gritty fare.
I like things. I mean, these days it's really good to have things that you can go to that make you feel good. That's one of the things about our show, Lunch Therapy, is like we try and find things that make us feel good. Because you need to nurture yourself a little bit, and you have to find out what makes you happy. Because when things are hard, you have to dig down and find out, okay, what are the things that make me happy? Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's jumping up and down. I don't know, but maybe it's watching For the Love of the Game. But you have to have those things to go to.
And you have to laugh. I think like laughing, you have to find something to laugh at every day, even when it's hard. And Stephen and I do a dance break every day.
Really?
Yeah, we have an Alexa, which I know a lot of people.
We have that.
Whatever, we have one.
You probably just.
I know she's talking. It seems like something turned on.
Oh, good thing I have the headphones.
I'm like,
on.
Wait a minute. I know she stalks me. But we'll just pick a random song and then we do a dance break. And I have to say, so much fun. And no matter what is going on, and I think when you're sequestered away with your significant other, 24/7, you really get to know what like even though we've been together a gazillion years, like you start to go, wow, I never knew that you.
It's like another level of your relationship.
Another level of
It's really.
And so I find the dance breaks just.
Yeah.
And we laugh, and it's a way to connect.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just like a fun thing because I just think dancing and laughing, singing, which we can't really do because we live in an apartment. I think our husband, I guess, too much. They'd be like, "Shut the hell up! We're stressed too." But like you're right, like Better Off Dead. That is a movie that just is a feel good movie.
Yeah, it's just fun.
One of those things. It's like getting a prescription from your doctor. I'm prescribing that to people.
That's what I'm doing on my show. Everybody's like, "What? I can't. Where can I watch it?" That's why we got to find a better copy of it. I better end this interview. It's been super fun. I want to end it on a happy note. This is a perfect place to end it. And thank you so much. This is such a gift. Really. And I'm so thankful.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that you and I got to connect. And
fun. Please
give a big kiss to Camilla for me.
Okay, I will.
And thank you so much for wanting to chat with me.
Absolutely. All right. That's it. That's our discussion with Amanda Wyss about Better Off Dead and some other stuff. She's so fantastic. So thankful that she came on the show, and grateful that you guys were there with us. This will be, in replay on Facebook and YouTube and all that. Remember, clear the mechanism. As Tommy Hinckley, great to see you. Mary Marks, thanks for the clear the mechanism statement. Thank you. And Jonathan Sposato, very great to see you. Thanks for the talk about 16 Candles. I was thinking about that myself, like that kind of stuff from the 80s where you're like, wow, we've really grown. We've grown a little bit. This is not acceptable anymore. And thank you, Kamala Lopez, of course, for always being here. And Tommy Hinckley, yes, we do have to talk. Hopefully you will do the show. All right, so dance party. I found a little thing on the web for our closing dance party. And it's a whole family. This guy, Colt Clark, is a musician, and he's in quarantine with his family. And so what are they doing? They're performing, of course. I'm going to play a little bit of this. I'm just playing it off the web. We'll have a link or something for you guys to go to and watch. They got all kinds of stuff. But this is Cecilia, done family style. And Ganelle, thanks for being here in the Twit chat room. Let's go. Dance party.
We're the Clark family and we're going to sing Cecilia.
1, 2, 3, 4.